Okay. Um, this week for me, it's been a week of introspection and reflection. Try to get myself grounded and centered back in the world of working and in the world of trying to get things done, in the world of trying to be a spiritual and productive physical being in society. I realize that there's different elements and components of everybody's experience, and sometimes when things come about like COVID or a long downtime, it's easy to neglect the portion of your experience that might be important in order to progress forward. So, for instance, I forgot to go to the gym for a little while, and that's actually something that's very important for myself and for my spiritual process, as well as my physical being, as well as everything that I'm doing in the world. And so it's different things like that that we all used to do, we all used to practice. uh, Building things, something with your hands, doing something for somebody else. It's easy to say, well, COVID's still kind of going on and I can just take it easy. It's easy to say, well, I don't want to go get a whole bunch of exposure to everybody, but you can always go walk the beach. You can always go and walk in a park. You can always go do something in nature. There's lots of different things that you can do in order to make yourself feel better energetically as a person. Don't do it to say, I need to achieve some goal. Do it because it feels good for you. Do the things that make you feel like a more productive, more happy human being in society. And as you do that, as you go about those practices, as you go about saying to yourself, I can be the best me no matter what's going on around me. In a time where a lot of people are really taking it easy, you might find yourself getting way farther ahead than you ever thought was possible. And so, as you do the little things, the larger things come into picture. They come into resolution, and you have a very productive, happy life. Okay, that's my little tidbit. What I do, I channel. When I channel, I don't remember. How that works, I don't have a full working explanation yet, but basically, it's a consciousness that flows through. They deliver information to people. Hi, guys, welcome. Deliver information to people, and they have their own way of thinking and viewing the world and what's going on here that's different than mine from my experiences. My experiences are quite limited. I've only lived 26 years of life here on this earth. And so uh, I love my life. I love what I'm doing, but they talk about things that I don't really have a bigger picture for as of yet. Okay, so they're gonna come through me now. Hello. There have been many who have come to your earth. They've said, I have a dream. I have a vision. I can see that everybody here could live peacefully. They'd say the young men and women from different countries could all get together and hold hands, and it would be a beautiful unification of the soul and the spirit. It would say that it doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, nationality, background, or heritage or culture you come from, we can all accept and love each other. They were always met with some resistance at the time. Later on, revered, admired, and respected for their compelling argument, their driven determination, and their love for everybody else. On this planet, it's oftentimes difficult for ones to accept large change, but large change is coming and cannot be avoided. You can see so in the technological revolutions that are taking place on your Earth. There are privatized rockets being launched into your outer space, inner space. And it is becoming easier for people to understand and believe that this planet is going to be a green, sustainable, and environmentally friendly place to live. But what is still hard for many to grasp is that those that are from different countries are the same as you in your country, that everybody is human. There is a race of human beings that inhabit this earth, and it doesn't matter what color you are, what you look like, your facial features, characteristics, size, stature, or anything else. What matters is that you have love and compassion in your heart for yourself and others. There are imposed or believed restrictions for people of certain races and cultures and nationalities to be able to inhabit certain locations, and other races, cultures, and nationalities have difficulties inhabiting those locations because of ideas and constructs that have been created by the human mind. These will dissipate, fall to the wayside, for all of you can go anywhere at any time on your planet, and soon beyond your planet. There is an equal level of intellect amongst all people. No one group or grouping of people is any more or less intelligent than anybody else. And those who walked your earth, who understood great feats could be accomplished through their own belief and faith in what is larger than themselves, would oftentimes say that they can accomplish things and everybody else can too. Because there is no pinching of the source of creation to any person on earth. And so we say often, you can do anything, you can accomplish anything, you truthfully can. If you believe it can be done, so it shall be done. And it is in with your connection, it is in with your belief in self, it is inside your being, your belief, your faith that makes you whole, that makes you light, that allows that love into you. And so when you're looking out and around yourself and you say, well, that person looks like that, and that person looks like that, and that person does that better than I do, and that person, well, it doesn't matter who does what and how they do it. Every person on this planet is unique, different, and spiritual in a different way. And so when you try to look outside yourself, compare yourself with other people, compare yourself with other beings, compare yourself with other perfect creations, you say, well, that person has something that I don't have, that person has something that I don't have. Or you can say to yourself, I can add to their picture like this, and I can add to their picture like this. For this life isn't meant to be a competition. It isn't meant to be a comparison. It isn't meant to be a lesson of how can one person one up the other person in a way that creates an environment that makes one person have it all and the other person have nothing. It never works that way. And there are large groupings, governments that think it has to work that way in order to propel their government forward, in order to propel their organization forward, in order to make more sales, in order to be more productive, and it never works that way. If you look at the world and at the people around and you say, how can I benefit that person's life today? How can I make that person's life better? How can I assist that person in feeling more of themselves? How can I remind them that they are perfect? How can I inspire them to be wonderful and know that they are wonderful? Then in the act of doing that, you draw about an energy, a life force, a purpose from within yourself that comes forward and helps you to be the best you can be, because in that moment you're there to help them. In that moment you're there to uplift them. In that moment you're there to inspire them. And being able to help them and deliver that answer and deliver that inspiration doesn't make you any better than them. It means you're being a good person. And then they can go on and be a good person to the next person. And they can go on and be a good person to the next person. And it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. And eventually people say, why do we have these riots? Why do we have the protests? Why do we have any of this? Why can't we all just go around and try to help each other out? Well, there's still a few buggers that are left on this earth that are trying to say, I have it all and the rest have none. But eventually, if you ignore those greedy people and let them live by themselves in isolation with all their wealth and all their fortune, and they understand that it's not about the wealth and the fortune, it's about the people that they can go forth and influence and help and inspire and love and share with, then you understand that what you're doing and reason you're doing it and what you're bringing about on this earth is a change. It's a difference. It's a life bringing, life inspiring, life giving, motivational speaking, loving presence that helps everybody to move forward in a time where everybody just needs some encouragement from somebody else. The reasons for depression, for anxiety, for the feeling of social difference is oftentimes not a biochemical reaction within somebody's being that is something that is naturally occurring and would occur no matter what. In most instances, it is a byproduct of the surrounding of the human that is experiencing. And so, if everybody can provide an environment for everybody else that is not going to create so much anxiety, it's not going to create so much attention on difference, but attention on similarity, that is going to help to encourage people to create beautiful things instead of trying to compare who's making the best beautiful things and whose beautiful things can do what, then you'll have more people building rocket ships. You'll have more people improving technology. You'll have more people that are on board with what's going on the earth right now. There's some that say, well, if they're so smart and they're able to do those creations, then they must also be doing something that is counter to my interest, or they must also, for some reason, be doing something. Perhaps they're trying to create the Antichrist. Perhaps they're trying to, for some reason, for some purpose, try to create something that's going to enslave humanity. Well, if you see that person doing something to help people, and they're sincerely making an effort to benefit the lives of others, and they say in their statement of their mission that their goal is to help to improve humanity, then what reason or purpose would someone have for believing that they're also doing something that's trying to hurt people? It doesn't make any sense. And so, inspire those who want to inspire others, uplift those who want to uplift others. We come forward with a very simple message every time, and that is, if you believe in yourself, and you really believe in yourself, you could quite literally move a mountain with the energy of God through you, the energy of the divine through you. You could make it happen. Now, if you don't have a desire or a need or belief that the mountain could move, it's not going to move just because you look at it and you go, I'm not in a good mood with you today, mountain. You should move. You're kind of in my way. It doesn't work like that. But if that mountain is your stepmother, if that mountain is somebody in your job who's trying to keep you from doing your job correctly, if that mountain is somebody you love and hold dear but won't do for themselves what you know they need to do for themselves, and so you keep trying to do it for them. If you believe, have faith, understand, and then let it go and let it happen, it will. For the life force energy that created you was not just your mother, although I love your mother very much because she brought you into a physical encasement, but it was also a divine spiritual intelligence that came through your mother into you, brought you into being, and is with you every day of your life until you go somewhere else, because you never die. The heart stops beating. What is the cause of death for a human being on this earth? Their heart stopped beating. It's not the COVID. It's not a paralysis. It's not someone jumping off a cliff. It's not someone getting hit by a car. Their heart stopped beating. Did their heart stop beating a minute or a second before it was supposed to? No. Never. No matter what the circumstance or situation. And that spirit lives on and will continue to live on. Will continue to go to other places and will continue to be happy. Now, you might be here stuck with the fact that you're not feeling happy that that spirit is still here in a physical encasement to make you feel and understand that you are loved. And that is difficult for you. But that spirit can go somewhere, continue to live, and continue to be a happy, productive, and wonderful individual that gives inspiration to many more. For you are on a cycle. Many call it the karmic cycle, but that's the energetic term for it. Many call it the Tao. That's an energetic term for it also. But it's a cycle of life. It never stops. It keeps going and going and going and going and going. Many return to the non-physical and say, even though they're given permission to stay in what is termed the oneness, because they accepted everything and everyone in their incarnation, I want to come back anyway. That was fun. I want to do it again. And so it's a cycle that will keep going on and on and on and on and on. This experience, this journey isn't a giant war between good and evil. It is good, being good, admiring how good is, how happy feels, how joyful joy is. And the darkness just goes away. It just dissipates. It goes into the background. It falls into the background. If everybody on your earth stopped paying attention to any negativity, negative thoughts, or negative ways of being, then they wouldn't exist on this planet. There have been passive resistance movements to change on your earth. They were successful. If there was a passive resistance movement to negativity on your earth, it would also be successful. But the more individuals try to butt heads and come to a solution through force, the more frustration is brought about. And so the term of a war to end all wars, there's never been such a war, and there never will be such a war, because wars don't end wars. Love ends wars. Peace ends wars. Joy ends wars. Having a wonderful life ends wars. Enjoying your life and inspiring others to enjoy their lives also ends wars. And it will also prevent wars. And so as you go out in your day, as you go out in your life, as you go out and you see somebody have trouble with somebody else who's just having a bad day, just say to them, look, we've all been there. We've all had those days. We've all probably said something to somebody we shouldn't have said. Let's just let it go and have a good experience. And by doing that, we make ourselves happier. And then everybody can have a more happy and peaceful experience. It sounds simple. But if you want to end war on your earth, start within yourself. Start with your friends, your family. You can be a preacher to people in the grocery store. Just don't preach to them like they're any different than you. Tell them what they need to hear if they're having a bad day. But there is no person on this earth who is any higher, greater, or farther above or closer to God than any other person, and there never has been and never will be. Everybody is equal. There's equality amongst all human beings. That is the way it is designed, and that is the way it will always be. And as everybody accepts their equality, accepts their divine nature, accepts that there's a perfect relationship for them out there somewhere, even if they haven't found it yet, accepts that there's a perfect family or pseudo-family for them out there somewhere, even if they haven't found it yet, accepts that there's some way to fill any hole that's made by something that doesn't feel good. There's some way that the divine connection that you have to a source energy can bring about a positive experience in your life. As everybody accepts that, and everybody claims their bountiful, plentiful blessings on this earth, you will walk forward to a very peaceful and easy transition. into a place where everybody can hold everybody else's hand and not worry, not fear, but understand that love is here and love is here to last. We love you all very much. Goodbye for now.